Hi, I'm the Box Office Wizard, bringing you weekend box office predictions and movie review. Hey, for today's show, I'm going to actually review the actual numbers from this past weekend's box office. They are finally in, so let's go ahead and get right into them. It was actually ended up being a battle for number one, and Hidden Figures came out on top. It was a big surprise. It barely beat out Star Wars Rogue One, which still had a pretty good weekend. But let's skip up to Hidden Figures. Came in at $22.8 million. I made a prediction of $17.8 million, and I'm kicking myself because I made that prediction, and I even said in my show, probably going too conservative. I said I knew it would probably go in the low 20s, and I should have went with what my gut was telling me. But hey, we're going with the $17.8 million. So either way, this movie is off to a fantastic start, and with it being number one, it's going to have probably a very good weekend as well coming up this next weekend, and play very well throughout the week as well. So, slipping to number two was Rogue One. It actually had a bigger drop than expected. This usually happens, but it seemed like it just, it only been seeing roughly about 30-40%. Plus, with all the holidays, it actually was seeing numbers increase. So, actually had like a 55% drop to $22.1 million. My prediction was $29.7 million, so I was off on that. Overall, though, still doing very well. It's now at $477 million here in the U.S., $437 million overseas, for a total of $914 million worldwide. You can't beat that for a standalone movie with Star Wars, even though it does still tie in. However, though, it did debut in China this past weekend, $31 million. It's off to a great start there. So obviously, that's going to help push those numbers towards the $1 billion mark. So, third place was the movie Sing. Still another great weekend at $20.7 million. I made a prediction of $27.8, so this movie was way off too. All the other experts pretty much were off on those, off Star Wars and Sing as well, so it wasn't anything drastic, so hopefully it won't hurt my numbers too bad. It did cross over the $200 million mark in the U.S. here, so it's doing very well. It's at $213 million now. Worldwide, it's at $357 million. This movie's doing very well. And, it's just great to see these movies do that. So, coming in a little bit light was Underworld at number 4. Came in at $13.7 million. I made a prediction of $17.1. I was really hoping that it would do a little bit better than what the studio was estimating. It came right in at what the studio had said. This is the fifth installment. Probably will be the last for Kate Beckinsale, unless it just does very well overseas, which, it's doing okay so far. Still got other markets to play, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. So, fifth place was Lalaland. Came in at $10.1 million. I made a prediction of $11.2, so I was right there. Like I said, this was the hardest movie for me to predict because it had doubled in size on its theaters. It's now at $52 million here in the U.S., $34 million overseas. And after last night, winning every category that it was nominated in, this movie is just going to continue to do phenomenal numbers. It's going to hold steady over the next several weeks. If it does drop, it's not going to be very much. So, if you've actually seen it, let me know what you think about it. I have not actually seen it yet. I do like musicals, though, so but just drop that in the comments below. So, finishing in sixth place was Passengers. Came in at $8.8 million. My prediction was $8 million, so I was right there on that. Came in overall. It's at $81 million here in the U.S. Another, it's at $185 million worldwide. So it's now finally picked up a little bit of steam. Like I said, the budget I think is $110 million, so it's doing okay. I was expecting it to do just a little bit better than the numbers that they are, but it's not done yet though, so we'll have to just wait and see how it does finish. So finishing in seventh was Why Him at $6.9 million. I made a prediction of 6.5, so great prediction on my part. It's now made $48 million here in the U.S., almost $26 million overseas, so it's doing very well for this type of movie, and just have to wait and see where it does finish up. But it's still got a few weeks left in it. So coming in eighth was Moana at $6.4 million. I made a prediction of $6.6 million, right there on it. It's now at $225 million here in the U.S. It's also made $225 million overseas, so it's 50-50 split at $450 million worldwide. Coming in ninth was Fences at $4.8 million. I was way off on this one. My prediction was $7.5 million, so not sure what happened, but it just finally dropped off, and it might have been just because of the other movies continue to gain steam where this one has not. So it's made $40 million here in the U.S. though. think it's a great pick, though. It's one I was really hoping to go see, but I just probably will have to just wait on Blu-ray or DVD or streaming at this point. So, and rounding out the top 10 was Assassin's Creed at $4.2 million. I was right there on it at $4.3 million. It's now made $148 million worldwide. It's probably not going to make much money, much more after this. It's really struggling to make any money at all. So I'll have to do some research and see. This may be a movie that I put in my bottom of the barrel in about 2 months here. So, hey, that's it for today's show. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll be back on Friday giving you predictions you can count on that are better than the weatherman. Take care.